Hi, this is Saintjerome of Crypto Experiences bringing you yet another crypto experience. Today is September the 3rd of 2023. This screenshot is from a podcast I did with Josh at Peloton Post. Josh has gone on to do a bunch of different video adventures for people. He's very much in tech, so his site is on freeze now, but I expect it to come back. Peloton Post is named after a part of Road to Ruta by Bix Weir. And if you want to check out ruta.com, you can check out Bix's podcasting, and you can find Josh's there. So anyway, I'm going to talk about the future of all finance. So aren't two heads better than one? You like the way I did that? So I found this slide, and there's my double head. There's double me. So future of all finance. So I've decided in this podcast to bring you many different points of view of podcasters that I listen to and glean information off of. I'm a person who likes to take in a lot of information, sort it out, weigh it, and see if it makes any sense. And that's worked pretty well for me. I like to take different points of view. We're coming down to these times of high inflation, the fiat currency crashing, like, you know, it's good to get some different points of view. So you've heard me with my survival currency podcast. I talk about the three things you really need to have on hand. Not financial advice, but if times get hard and the currency starts crashing, these three things should be useful. One is good old cash. Now, why would you get cash when the currency or when the fiat currency is crashing? Well, for a while, people will give value to it. That's not going to last a long time, but when you have those first hard days of crash, you should still be able to go out with your fiat dollars and get some of the things you might still need, or people will accept them as trade in an item. And that won't last for a long time once they figured out what's going on. So next thing is precious metals. Precious metals have always been a good store of value, and especially we believe silver to have more upside than gold. Nothing wrong with gold, but silver just does more than gold does. Silver is the best conductor of electricity, so all the new tech has to have silver in it. And historically, the ratio of gold to silver has been 16 to 1, but right now it's all out of whack and it's like 81 or so to 1. Wow, you get 81 ounces of silver with more upside than you do for gold, that 1 ounce. And right now, as of this filming, it looks like I think I saw gold was around $1,960, and silver last I saw was about $24.30 or 40 cents. Wow, it seems to be a lot more upside with the silver. So anyway, and then the last thing would be different kinds of cryptocurrencies and crypto tokens. Kind of have two camps there. You got cryptocurrency. It's used to be a type of digital money, digital currency, where then you got some tokens, which they may have some function they do for exchanging things or trading for things, and or maybe they stand for something like NFT. Might be a contain a contract for some item or something of proof for it. So anyway, those three things. Well, I've come across this podcaster lately. I like a lot of what he says, especially if you're in the top 1% of all the people in the world who have gold or silver. It's not that much, folks. I was surprised how little you need. So I listened to his last podcast, one of his latest ones, and found this little photo here. Gold and silver are a must have. And he's talking about his gold and silver protection plan. And so um, I don't think he's much of a crypto guy, but he's definitely big on silver. Now, he made one good point that I really want to bring out and compare it to somebody else. He said that silver and gold are batteries. What? No, it makes sense. You work hard and you put your labor into some type of currency, and we put in the fiat dollars now. But if you would put that into silver, silver from 30 years ago buys a heck of a lot more than silver did. Silver from 30 years ago buys a heck of a lot more than fiat dollars nowadays, but silver nowadays still keeps its value. So does gold. So the one they always tell you is that gold in Roman times could buy a new suit, new tunic. Gold in the turn of the century could buy a new suit. Gold in modern times can buy you a new suit. It maintains that energy in that battery. I thought that was an interesting analogy, and I liked it quite a bit. So I was going to give it to you today. Now, again, not financial advice, but you just may want to like store up some of the energy into gold and silver, actual gold and silver that you have in hand. Now, not financial advice, but if it was me, I sure wouldn't store it anywhere, like in a safety deposit box, anything you can lose control of. So if the world like starts to crash, you think those guys guarding those places are going to let you get to your bullion, to your coins? I don't. They're going to take care of their families first. The next podcaster I have the pleasure to bring to you again is Clint Westwood of the famous Peoria Pizza Works crypto meetups, where we feature that sign behind, feature a Litecoin, and Westwood meetup is kind of like a big rock concert without all the rock music all the time. More crypto talk, but there's some music in the background. So, what I like that Clint has said, which is much like what the ball guy said, it's that the crypto is storing your energy to be released at another time. That's another thing that holds its value over time is the crypto. So we hear Clint reminding us to that cryptocurrencies store up energy. Also, he knows that silver and gold store up energy also, and so does Mr. Westwood, his father, who's went with me, and Clinton and his father went with me to the coin show that we from a previous podcast. So, what else is Clint famous for saying? And here's our friend Josh Lake again from Pebbleton Post. He also interviewed Clint one day, and Clint is famous for in the Vampire Casino, don't play with their tokens. So Clint is saying, and Clint's famous for his cigars, don't play with their tokens, exit their chips, right? Exit the casino. And I had that in another podcast too. So that's right. Well, who's running the casino? Well, the vampires are. Well, who are those vampires? Well, one set of those vampires are the banksters. That's for dang sure. Well, roughly about 2,000 years ago, Jesus, or Yeshua, as others call him, went into the temple in Jerusalem and found the money changers selling and making a farce of the temple there. So they were selling different animals for sacrifice, etc. So he overturned those money changers. And who are those money changers today? They are the banksters. So I think you'll appreciate this next picture. It's kind of a modern day version of if Jesus went to the temple today. So if Jesus went into the temple day, Yeshua went to temple day, who are those money changers that we're putting up with now? Who are those vampires in the vampire casino? Who's robbing our energy as we can store up into currency by this fake false money called fiat currency backed by nothing? None only than the banksters. Well, who do we see behind there? Can you make out any of those banksters? I seem to think that has some nameplates now. I'm not going to see mention who they are because you can surely read who they are, but that's just a small portion. Uh, the they have been shutting down smaller banks, and they've been merging those banks into the big six banks lately. And just watch out for that. I'm also hearing that they are just shutting down bank accounts randomly, and you can't get access to your funds. So, again, think about those things we think that you need to have on hand just in case, right? Cash, precious metals, and cryptocurrency. And again, not financial advice, but that would help you in case that happened to you. Next podcaster I want to point out some words of wisdom is the one on the left of your screen, Cliff High. This is from a picture taken off of a podcast he did with Vic Swear a while back, where you're going to harden yourself for the year zero. So that's when it all comes crashing down. Now, if you've seen Cliff lately, he's back in podcasting. He is rather buff. He had cancer several years ago, and then he made a product called Pure Sleep. And I'll give a little shout out to that. I use that like every night. It does help me sleep. So our body mends itself when it's sleeping. So he also, it he has the precursor for the human growth hormone in there, which helps repair damage. But boy, the guy's looking very buff right now. So this is an older picture. Now, I first came across Cliff several years ago in the 90s when he runs web bots that go out and grab language that's unique, and then it's been used to make very accurate foretelling of the future. So it's like it's making prophecy, or it's fulfilling that it's a prophet. But no, it's more that our psyche as a whole, we start using this language before things happen, and kind of turns off what was going on right before 9/11 when the planes hit. The Princeton had an egg that did random numbers, and all of a sudden the numbers stopped being random before that, and then the tragedy happened, and then it eventually went back to random numbers. So something in humans, we have that spiritual side of us, definitely flips the switch on that, and Cliff has tapped into that. So a couple things, I'm going to get to my notes here. A couple things Cliff has said um, is that very Veritasium will one day be on par with Bitcoin. If you know what Veritasium is, that makes solidifies contracts and helps move money and verifies the transaction. And Reggie Middleton is the one who came up with that. He's got several patents. Well, the government that is in Washington D.C., the corporation, they seized like 98 million of his 100 million tokens, and I think they gave Reggie back 2 million. But one day, Cliff's web bots are saying that the government's going to come running to Reggie for that. And right now, a lot of the DeFi is going on. They're actually breaking Reggie Middleton's patents. So watch out for that. That way, something for the future. So as Bix says, that's kind of a wild card. You want to play a wild card, a lottery ticket, you might want to get yourself some Veritasium. So Bix was giving them out a few years ago as a joint sign with the Road to Ruta. So I'm not sure what the price of Veritasium is now. It's been going anywhere from about $12 up to about 40 to 50. But one day it may be on par with Bitcoin. And speaking on par with Bitcoin, Cliff's web bots have Bitcoin going out to 100 grand in the near future. He said his web bots are seeing Christmas parties where everybody is celebrating and having 100,000 K Bitcoin value. Now, a lot of his web bots we thought were going to happen a couple of years ago, but now they're starting to come true. A little word of warning also he gives us is when people are doing stupid things, don't go out in the street with them and do stupid things. You're going to get stupid prizes. So just stay put and stay out of trouble. Here's a caricature of Cliff High, but I didn't find a recent picture of him. But I've seen him in recent podcasts. But here's him, is looking a lot more buff like that. So, yeah, he's looking pretty strong. And he's around 70 years old, and he's a very strong 70. So he's overcome his cancer. Good job, Cliff. The next one with words of wisdom that you can listen to is Litecoin Lisa. She does a podcast every Friday night at happy hour with Clint Westwood, and she has several shows during the week too. So catch that. If you're lucky enough, you can get her when she is giving her Patreon members a little heads up on some great things that she finds in along the way, garage sales and different curio shops that are vintage, and you might want to own those things. So check those out too. She does some podcasts on that. But Lisa brings a lot of people to the plate, interview a lot of people. Her community is very large, Litecoin community especially, but she's also on the Very DAO and has has gets to listen to Reggie Middleton and his words of wisdom all the time. So talking about Veritasium, she's a great supporter of that, and you should follow Lisa not only on that but also on Happy Hour, of course. So here's her Cliff High type of caricature. And let's get an actual picture of Lisa here. Here's a picture around Christmas time. We had a meetup during Lisa's anniversary, I believe it was, and she wanted to spend with her magical internet friends. I gave her a copy of The Promise of Bitcoin, courtesy of Bobby C. Lee, which talks about why Bitcoin and his family's history, how him and Charlie Lee got into Bitcoin. Bobby C. Lee is now the CEO of Ballet Wallets, of which I'm an ambassador. They're great places to store your crypto and totally offline. It's on cold storage. So Lisa does a great job for the crypto community, and she's kind of the unofficial head of the Litecoin family. Then another big influencer for me and words of wisdom, really have caught quite a few things from him, is Bix Weir. This is taken from a meetup in St. Louis, put on by Bitcoin Ben. And when I first time I met most of my magical internet friends. So there's Bix in the middle. That's me. I just gone on a little weight loss thing that Amy was doing. We're eating raw foods, and they rewarded us with a Road to Ruta coin. Now, I'm the guy that put up the sign there because I was the tall guy in the background. So it was a great day. Met a lot of people. It looks like Paulie P in the background. I did not know Paulie P so well at that time, but I do now. Great guy. So Bix, anyway, in his words of wisdom. So here's a big blow up of Bix. Can you spot the fake silver? I'll tell you what, there are some good copies out there now. I was talking about at the coin show. I now have a little device called a Sound Money metal detector thing, and you can tap on the silver coin, and it puts off a certain ping that the app measures, and you can tell if it's silver or not. And it works really good. So that was Bix. The takeaways with Bix I get are there we have a lot more gold than we're letting on. So when all this BRICS business is going on, they're backing their currency by gold. We're holding back, folks. We have a lot of gold in many places, such as the Grand Canyon has a lot of gold in it, and that part of the Grand Canyon's off limits to anybody. The military is guarding it. They found that gold around 1913, which coincidentally is when they made the Federal Reserve. They realized it was all the gold they had they put in circulation, it would ruin the currency at that time. So we've been running on kind of like everybody else's money right now, but when our dollar crashes, we should be able to bring it back up. There's also lots of gold in California in the federal parks. Imagine that, right? That's one thing Bix always points out. He also points out that ratio of gold to silver we were talking about of 81, 82 to 1. This is historic time to get silver. He talks about getting American silver, American coinage, so American eagles. And the new eagles can be tracked with a little notch in them, and you can actually kind of track them almost like a QR code. So every single American eagle produced can be recorded and verified, which is pretty crazy stuff when you think about it like that. And then he's also very famous for Theta. That's his next big takeaway, the Theta cryptocurrency. Here's a slide off of one of Bix's podcasts that Theta is the best of the rest. And he has a song that's funny called Theta Girl. I hope Amy didn't get too mad at that one. It sounds like he had a second love. So Theta is going to run the internet through everybody's computer in the future, and you'll get rewarded with Theta fuel. So it is a dark horse, and it may do very well. Not financial advice, but boy, it's cheap right now. It's about 63 to 68 cents at the moment. At one time, it ran up to $16, and you could like Snippy did, Joe Snips. He knew it was going to get out there. He had a dream about it. He got out near the top and sold out, and then came back and bought up a bunch for 15 times more, and took a little bit of that off the top and bought some toys to play with, like helicopters and things and Teslas. Well, another influencer I get a lot of info from, and I am a Patreon member. He's been very good. And when I have a question or get stumped on something, I shoot him off a little message. I'm on a little higher tier with Joe Snips, and this is him at the bottom. So I love it when these three got together, Ben, Bix, and Snippy, the three amigos, and you can throw Cliff High in there too. He joins the three amigos class. So sometimes they came in wearing different kind of hats, and Joe here is a little bald. But anyway, um, Joe is looking for Bitcoin to reach about $38,000 in the near future. Now, that's not my prediction, but we believe that the market is headed towards Bitcoin and that amount. But then we also think there's going to be a big crash coming. So some people have Bitcoin set up for trade off and move into different things in some kind of stable coin, perhaps. Now, I've got a stable coin that I will probably use, but I do not want to share that with you. Not because I'm being selfish, but I just in case it doesn't work, I don't want you to say you said do this. Well, I'm not saying that. We just think, not financial advice. There's going to be a crash. So you might want to take some profits, but then we believe after the big crash, we think everything's crashing. Then there should be meteoric rise in cryptocurrencies and maybe gold and silver too. So, but that's not financial advice. We're kind of heading that way. So Snippy's kind of had me think of that. And then, like I said, the historic rise. So that's Joe Snips. Good guy, worth the Patreon. The next influence for me, and he led me to think, wow, this Digibyte has some value. The man on the right was on a Rice crypto interview. Rice is a good interviewer for crypto and for different things. Does some woo woo too. Is Blind Dave Crypto? That's Dave over there now. Little beknownst to people, Dave is an awesome dancer. It's something else. I have seen him doing his dancing. He used to be quite the dancer when he was younger. Now, due to diabetes, he is blind. Has a little bit of sight, not much, and he is able to help those who are struggling the same way and learn about trust, which really help uh, people who are blind with a disability like that to be able to carry on their life. Because if you live just on government rules, they barely keep you in existence, and it takes a lot of different doctors to take care of different things like retinal detachments and different levels and a neuropathy. To confess, I had a little bit of that. I'm kind of pre-diabetic, but I've been watching it. If you looked at my earlier pictures, I've lost 80 pounds lately, so not quite the fat guy I used to be, huh? You bots out there. Yeah, I got some bots saying, "Look at that fat guy." Yeah, you hurt my feelings so much. No, I'm good to go. Anyway, this is Dave. He has a special program on Thursday nights. I believe it's at 5 o'clock. So here is a screenshot from that. It is called Hash It Out. Look at that. Dave's like being flooded by Bitcoin and Digibyte. Those are his big things there, especially Digibyte. He is the guy to talk to learn a little bit about Digibyte, but he's crypto savvy in a lot of things. Now, this is his podcast, and so he kind of lays back and lets people talk. We have there's another guy that's not on here right now. His name's Johnny. I forgot what Johnny it was. I know I've met personally 3 out of 4. I do not had not pleasure to talk to Stake in person yet, though. That's what the S stands for. So here is the group. So you've got Blind Dave Crypto from New Orleans. We have Clint Westwood, who we've met before. Been with Clint several times. Javier, I had the pleasure to meet one of Westwood's meetups, and it sounds like I'm going to see him again in October. So if you get on here, Javier is a man of a million questions, and he's lived a long life, and he got into crypto and precious metals, doing okay. So I appreciate Javier and his experience and what he brings to the table. Stake with the S, he's from Europe, and so he brings that perspective. His English is excellent, and he speaks. I'm a language teacher, and he uses English idioms like magnificently for someone who's not a native of speaker. And it's a great little show. Hash it out. They cover lots of topics, and be ready to sit down and kick back because the shows are going to go about 2 hours or so. And the next guy that to get some good advice from is Bitcoin Ben. Bitcoin Ben was a truck driver, and he started out simply just sitting on the kind of on the back porch, talking about his journey in crypto, and then he has now made it his career. So no longer an official truck driver, but spreading the crypto gospel. And boy, Ben has go big or go home. He has really stretched out his wings. He has an entrepreneur group. They have gone into El Salvador. You've seen my podcast in El Salvador. My gosh, what that country is phenomenal right now. Worst country in the world for crime, and now they're one of the safest countries. Turned it, flipped it totally around. They have Bitcoin and U.S. dollar as their legal currencies, their legal tender. That is for they either one works in that country. They power their Bitcoin mining they do themselves with a volcano to help create the steam for electricity. They're building new highways, new roads, new medical facilities. The kids are getting some kind of computer or tablet. They've got the resorts going up everywhere. They just built in, let's see, what's the thing called? Sunset City or Sun City or something. It's a resort, kind of like a mini Six Flags on the ocean, and it's just phenomenal what's going on in that country there. So Ben's right in there. He's got an office in El Salvador, but not only that, he also has a crypto club in Florida. He moved to Florida, and wow, he's doing good. So you tune into Bitcoin Ben, you're going to get a lot of information. I got into Divi. He was a big one for Divi. Now, right now, Divi's not doing the best. Hopefully, it resurrects itself. I did well in Divi, though. I did okay. I appreciate getting to know that, and through that, I was able to go down and visit Ben when he was in St. Louis, and he helped me set up some things like that. So I appreciate that. So shout out to Ben, and recommend. He's got some good advice for you. Well, I am still a Litecoin fam. I think Litecoin is the right coin, to quote Bix Weir in his fabulous song. I think it's one of the best currencies. However, I'm not one to overlook things that are going to have some value. And XRP, Ripple, and XLM, and there's five more. So they're going to be ISO 222 compliant. It's going to replace the Swiss system. And a very good podcaster on this, giving me a lot of information, is Zach Rector. Now, they say here that I took this picture from, is Zach Rector's crazy $800 XRP price prediction accurate? Well, I think it's going to go up quite a bit. Not financial advice, but my gosh, it's bargain basement once again. It's like 46 cents. Now, Joe Snip's information has Bitcoin rising, like we said, to about 38,000. And then everything crashes. And when that have everything, we're talking about XRP also, but everything crashes. So you might be able to scoop up some of your profits you made if you had moved that profit from Bitcoin into stable coins, and then come up and pick up some more XRP and then ride everything back up again. You could even like just take some of the Bitcoin off, right? And ride that past up there again. So by background, I'm a hodler. I'm hold on for dear life. I believe in dollar cost averaging. Buying a little bit over time so you can handle the highs and the lows is a good way to do it. But you know what, folks? We're coming on some crazy dates here where people are predicting that zap. I think the dollar is going to really do a downturn fast. Are we in a recession? Yeah. Did you check the price of things lately? Good night. I can't believe you can go to a fast food restaurant like that one with the golden arches on it, and just getting like a simple meal that costs $4 just a few years ago. This thing's like 11, $12 now. Dang, right? And that's not the only thing that's gone up. You can't get anything um, for prices. My church I go to burned it down, and it's costing 6 times more than the insurance is going to cover, because the one that was insured, it would have covered replacement easily, but that's how much things have gone up lately. It's just crazy. So anyway, I like Zach's information. I don't follow like everything he says. Another good XRP man is Mel Carmine, but lately it's been a lot of commercials for things, especially like the health beds, the med beds, and I do believe there's a place for that in time. I don't know if now is the place. I don't know how effective these beds are, but I'm starting to hear a lot less about XRP than I am about some commercialization, where Zach has been pretty steady on that. So I like that. So, hey, this isn't financial advice, but take a chance. You can get like a couple hundred XRP for get 200 XRP for like $100. Maybe it's worth the trouble. And I don't think you're going to lose your money. Maybe you won't gain this crazy price prediction that we have up there, or is it crazy? They thought Bitcoin was crazy too, right? When it was below a penny, they thought Doge was crazy, and it went from way below up to I don't know, 70 cents or so, and now it's down to 6 cents. But you could have rode that train up to the top. The last of the podcasters. He was on lots. It wasn't really a podcast himself. He was on a lot of interview shows. Uh, I got a lot of good information from him, and he's passed on now. Is Lindsey Williams, Pastor Lindsey Williams, here with the American flag, which I salute you, sir. Uh, he had a couple takeaways for me. He worked on the Alaska pipelines, volunteer, doing pastoral work. Those people who were the CEOs of the oil companies hired him because the men were getting unruly, and Lindsay came in and held services, and the men became under control with Lindsay. He had a gentle spirit. The CEOs of those corporations liked him so much they invited him in on their meetings. And folks, these are the big wigs. These are the elite. These are the ones that knows what's going to coming in the next year or two. And so they brought Lindsay in and they shared with him what they were going to do. And I say they, I don't just mean oil company. I mean the elite of the world, the top 1% of the one percenters, those guys. So Lindsay shared a lot of what they were thinking to us. And a couple takeaways I got. One, my biggest one I've shared before is if it's written on a piece of paper, it's worth a piece of paper. And then I think that goes for everything, for dollar bills, for contracts. I think they're all coming to a big poof eventually here. Hard assets seem to be the way to go, not financial advice, but that was a big takeaway I had. The money of the elite, Lindsay pumped was gold and silver, gold and silver. That's what they had their stock in. There's been a big transfer of gold and silver lately. I won't go into detail, but a lot of the elite don't have as much as they used to have anyway. But yeah, these BRICS nations, they're accumulating their gold and silver from somewhere, right? The other thing I got from Lindsay, and I think we're getting near that time, is when you see the European Union um, crash, here in America, we've got about 2 weeks before our crash, and I believe that European Union is going down the slippery slope, and they're going down even faster than we are right now. And we're going pretty fast. Our dollar, in a sense, is stronger than the rest because we're still the reserve currency. But just reading today that some of those BRICS nations are selling off their treasury bonds like lickety split. China being one of them. I forgot what the other country was, but they're dumping their bonds, and so that's going to lead to the dollar crashing. That's one of the things propping up our fiat currency. So those are a lot of the influencers on me. As I said, I take in this information, I digest it. And they're not the only ones I listen to. I listen to a lot of people who are telling you the real news, not the fake news. I don't believe any of the what the media is telling you. We went through some terrible times the last couple of years, and folks, that stuff that wasn't the whole truth. You were getting told, and a lot of people are waking up now and finding out that things are not as they seem. I don't want to get any details because you walk a fine line on certain channels, and my main channel is one of those you walk a fine line on. But people are coming much more aware. We started to realize, like when the singer Oliver Anthony got on, that his themes, we work hard and pay taxes. Boy, that runs through all races and all beliefs. And that song was really going out and touching everybody, as you can refer back to a podcast we had before. Well, today is September 3rd, and a lot of people think that September 11th will be a significant date. I know Big Swear is one. We've had a lot of crazy things happen on September 11th, especially when you say September 11th. Everybody knows what you're talking about, but that wasn't the only thing. Also, September 25th is coming up on a lot of people. Now, actually, I have one more influencer for me that I'm going to share. Now, a lot of my Litecoin family don't think too much of his not going to call them predictions. He is an analyst of time, and he analyzes through the Bible, which is a good source of what is happening here now and in the future. And it goes in cycles. You heard the old saying, history repeats itself. Well, it does. History goes in cycles. And other people talk about the four turnings, where there's four different types of generations, and that you see them over and over in history again. So you can kind of predict what's going on. The Bible has a lot of timelines for finances that come up over and over again. And that man is Bo Pulney. He is everywhere doing podcasting. He's a lot on the Christian podcasting, but he's on mainstream too. He's kind of every other week or once a month favorite of David Rodriguez, Nino Rodriguez. He's on his podcast a lot. Um, and he's called some amazing things on dates. Now, he's the first one to tell you he's not calling exactly what's going on, but he comes up with the dates where something significant is going to happen, and it usually is correct. So if you look behind, we got the black horse, kind of a downturn of the economy. That's from Revelation. So he's carrying the scales on the back, and you're going to see like certain things are going to be unattainable, right? Like we might be headed for famines, and we're starting to see food shortages everywhere. Part of it is by design, folks. There's some very not nice people who want to have control. So what's one way to control the people? That's take away the foods. There's a lot of that going on, a lot of land grab going on in different places. Not just in one place, it's all over the place. There's a lot of fires burning everywhere, just like crazy. I mean, but all over the globe. If you go follow forest fires on the world map, and I can't give you the website, but it looks like the entire Earth is on fire almost. Some people think it's climate change. Well, anyway, some people do. So anyway, Bo Pony, I like, he uses the Bible to get those cycles, and he makes a lot of sense. And he's one that kind of called the downturn of when oil went to below $40. Remember that crazy? Oil for a short time was $40, negative $40. That means they got to give you money and you take their oil. What the heck? That actually happened, folks. And all this stuff can crash to zero. So again, not financial advice, but this is my opinion. Soon to be worthless. But remember, I talk also about survival currency, and this is a good screen to kind of show the three that I'm talking about here. So if you go in the right hand corner, solutions for survival currency, we have precious metals. To the lower right, we have fiat currency, and to the lower left, we have the cryptocurrencies. So not financial advice, but you might want to spread out different things. And of course, if you're on a good piece of land and you have some basic supplies, food for a period of time, even the government suggests like about 3 weeks worth of supplies, right? You need food, you need water, you need flashlights and lights and heating, a source, a cooling source, depending on what season it is. There's a lot of things out there you can get that a lot of people are pushing that really are pretty affordable. And you can get those. There's a lot of food kits that have good quality food. You need to do a little research on your own, but you can get those kits. And not financial advice, but you might want to get enough supplies for about three weeks at least. They talk about 10 days of darkness coming up. Is that an internet blackout? Why certain things get changed? Why they flip the switch financially on all of us? Bad people get put away. I don't know. And the Bible talks about 3 days of darkness at the very end. Now, during the Moses and the plagues, one of the plagues was darkness. And the way it sounded like is you couldn't even see your hand in front of your face for 3 days. Think how scary that would be. So I don't know what's coming, but being prepared. Well, if you never have to use your supplies, it was like insurance. You don't always have to use insurance, but boy, when you need it, it comes in handy. So thank you very much. If you have any questions or comments, put them below. Hey, join the Patreon, and I will, if you join the lowest rung on the Patreon, I will send you a 10,000 Satoshis just for joining on the lower rung. So that's about somewhere between $2.50 to $3 right now for 10,000 Satoshis. If you're in the continental United States, I will mail you a Ballet gift card. I'm going to put a limit of 10 of those cards, but I won't, let's say a limit of 50 people on the Patreon just because of sheer management of trying to send all those Satoshis out, right? I'll send those out. Now, if Satoshis get nutty high here all of a sudden, like let's say they're like $30 each, I think I'll cut that back. So let's put a dollar limit, dollar limit, put a dollar limit on say like $25 or so, which would be a good deal since you're coming in at less than that. But also I have a new subscriber contest. Or a subscriber contest, I should say, when we get to 400, and it's about 445 subscribers, I'm going to give a special prize because there's a certain website I'm trying to beat, and I want to bring it to your attention once I beat it. So that's pretty cool. I'm getting close there. Also, when we get to 500 subscribers, I'm going to also give out some Satoshis to somebody. So I've got some links down below that'll help you. You go to Caleb and Brown, you get a special rate of 3.5% if you use my code down below. Also have a link for, not a link, but address for Andy Schectman of Miles Franklin. You get a special price on that also. And then, of course, it helps fund this channel. Strike app, there's some there, and Ballet Wallets. I think it's one of the greatest wallets there is. It is on a credit card size wallet that's made out of steel. They do have some gold plated, but you don't need the gold plated ones. You get it's very functional with the $35 one, and your number is offline. Then when you need to send it, you have an app that you put the scratch off code and QR on it, and you can send it. It also does inscriptions now, which is pretty neat. I did inscription of our wedding, my wife and I's wedding picture from a few years ago. And wow, that's now on the Bitcoin chain forever. So that's kind of a unique gift to give. I give a Litecoin Lisa and Clint Westwood also an inscription of them on their Harley motorcycle as their promotional photo. So, well, thank you. Please, if you would, give me a thumbs up, like, that really helps, and subscribe to the channel, and that gets me in the algorithm. I'm getting up there, folks. If there's anything you want me to talk about, leave it in the comments below. And thank you once again for watching this podcast. Goodbye.